Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ryan Ride Mechanic channel. How the heck are you doing today? Alright, today I've got another breakdown video. I know everybody loves breakdown videos. Today's video is coming to us from Pleasurewood Hills. It's the Wipeout, aka a boomerang. Viewers saw this, took some pictures, and said, hey, what's going on here? What do you think? So I take a look at the pictures and let's talk about it.
Now get ready. Here we go.
Alright, Pleasurewood Hills looks like a charming little park out there. So their boomerang ride experienced a problem the other day. This was sent to me Sunday, July 27th, in the evening time over here. So it's way later over there. But basically, the subscriber sent to me a couple pictures and said, what's happening in here? It looks like the chain snapped or they took the chain out for some reason. So let's put on our detective hats and see what's going on here. Okay, and just as a reminder, if this is your first time here, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff downstairs. It does help out the channel. I do appreciate it. I'm on my way to 1 million subscribers. Maybe I'm not that high yet. I might be that high. I'm not that high. Anyways, let's take a look at this. All right, so here's the picture that they sent to me. And here is the boomerang. We're looking at it from the lift 2 side. There's the trough. So it doesn't look too crazy out of the ordinary. Let's see if we could zoom in on this here. Alright, so looking down here, it looks like the train is sitting in the safety brakes. This is typical for when the train doesn't make the lift. It'll roll backwards, or if it stopped on the lift and they had to evacuate it, you're typically supposed to drop the trough and let the train roll backwards. There's a recovery winch at the top of the lift hill, but that is only to pull the train up. It's never to lower it down, because Vekoma didn't engineer it to lower the weight backwards. They only engineered it to pull the weight up the lift hill. And then, yeah, I see this nice chain. Little grainy on the image, but that's fine. It's coming straight down.
That's what she said.
Okay, so what we have here is this right here. This is the chain that's supposed to be up in the chain trough right now. That's the chain coming down. This right here is the tensioner wheel. You have the bull wheel up at the very top with the hydraulic motor on it, and this guy down here just sits there, and the weight of the wheel plus a little bit of spring tension helps tension that entire chain assembly. Now, one thing I notice when I scroll down is that I see that the chain is straight. Now, I've actually seen broken chains before. They kind of wad up because typically when they come out, they kind of start going faster than themselves, and then the chain kind of just like wads up and kinks. This is not the case though here. Here is another picture. This one looks like a little closer up. Let's see, I can't see much coming down here. When we've dropped the chain out of the thing before, we typically remove this cover. All this is a shroud that catches any oil, chain line, or shavings and stuff like that, and it prevents it from going on the ground, which would create a contamination issue with your environment. Big fines, you don't want to deal with that. So typically what we do is we take that big shroud off the bottom to expose that return chain, the spring tensioner down there, and then you take it, you break it at the top, and you roll the top backwards down along the bottom, and let that thing come all the way back down, and it'll just pretty much go straight off of the trough. And it would be, the upper trough comes down here and stops right about this area. The lower trough starts around the same area. So actually you would see the chain coming down right here the way I'm used to dropping the chain out of one of these rides. But if we follow the chain down here, and again, this is the chain. I mean, the chain looks pretty decent. Let's see what else is going on with it. You know, one thing that's suspect here is that there is it looks like there's a cable along with it right there. What is that? Is that a cable? Hard to tell. The chain's kind of like out of focus in that area. It might just be it might be my eyes playing tricks on you. But it kind of looks that way. It could also be just like a rope or something if they've used that as well. Kind of looks like a cable laying right there. Now there's no cables on lift 2. That's it. They've got this cable coming down here. Oh, you know what that is? That's the cable from lift 1. That's the underside of lift 1 over there. That's this cable. This hose, I actually checked out some POV videos and stuff. This hose is actually, it's there all the time. This is nothing special for this. Okay, here's a better view. Let's look at this. Okay, there's the chain going up underneath the ride, and okay, it's coming out now. Right here, this is the upper trough right there. It's a lot of speculation on my end, but the trough still looks like it's in the up position. That's the other thing you do with that trough is you drop it into the down position because it could fall on you otherwise when you're working on it. I can't tell. It looks like there's something here, but someone's already been working on this thing, so it's not like this is a fresh thing. And then it's gone over this support and it's come down. Now, unlike most chain troughs that you have going up a lift hill, the trough is normally enclosed where the chain runs on the inside, and the trough is actually there. It has either some metal tabs welded over it. You can see these really good on like POV videos for Expedition Everest and stuff like that. Like B&M's, they pretty much enclose the entire chain except for where the chain dog is supposed to go. The main reason for that is that when the train is going up the lift hill, your worst case scenario is it just latches on at the bottom and then the chain breaks at the top. And then the whole thing tries to slide down backwards. It could come up and out of the trough, and then like a snowball, it could start winding up. It can and probably will kill someone in the train at that point because you're talking about tons of steel gaining momentum down the lift hill. So those brackets that they put over it and the trough that's around it is actually to contain that chain. The boomerangs have a very similar thing, but it's only on one side. So it's only on one side of that chain. So it's kind of odd to break a chain and have it come perfectly straight out the back like that. It normally wads up at the bottom and kind of just crunches itself there, and it kind of sits there like a big knot where it's just like down at the base of the thing, and it prevents everything from moving. And most of the time, to get a knot like that undone, you have to cut the chain apart with a torch in order to do it. This one, it looks like they dropped the chain out on purpose. So if I were to say, hey, they dropped the chain out on purpose, why would you do that? It's like, well, there's a problem with the chain trough liner or something like that. I had to get in there. I had to take it apart, replace liner, do some sort of repair. So I needed the chain out of the way to do that repair. Well, so you break the chain up at the very top. You hold the top part of the chain around the bull wheel. It's got a hydraulic brake on it, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then you slowly let that chain all the way down out of the back. Kind of what it looks like right here. But what doesn't make sense about that is that that's something I see. Like, I've seen that there was a problem, and I acknowledged, hey, there's a problem, I'm going to have to make a repair, which means I'm up on the lift, I'm staring at it, which means the ride's down, it's locked out, it's not going anywhere. This suddenly happened. And the train is sitting down here in the recovery spot. So it would make the most sense that the train went up the lift hill, latched onto that chain, and then the chain broke. And then it just so happened, momentum started to pick it up, and that chain was coming with the train on the way back down. And then it was towards the bottom. So I'm going to say what probably happened is the chain dog actually carried the chain past that opening at the bottom a little bit and started kind of like, it would have looked like a U when it started. And then the other side would have flopped down, and then the whole thing would have came straight out of the bottom exactly like it sits now. So because of the placement of the train in this scenario, I'm going to say that this is more than likely the chain snapped. So it's like, okay, let's say the chain snapped. Why would the chain snap? Boomerangs are under an extreme amount of pressure on that lift 2. Those chains in that lift 2 only last a handful of years, like 3-ish, 3 to 5 years is about the most you can get out of those chains before they become too fatigued and they need to be replaced. Now, unlike a normal chain where you would say like, oh, once it stretches past a certain dimension, I've talked about chain stretch before, so if you haven't seen that video, I have a video on chain lift hills that you can go check out, all about this stuff. But once it stretches, that's when they say, okay, we need to replace it. That's because you could see all the components are worn on the inside. Boomerangs, however, they stretch just a little tiny bit and then they literally fall apart. They fail. The links will fail. So you have to put them on a time-based replacement, because what will happen is around the barrels of that link of the chain, right where it goes to the side, around those barrels, it will start to crack right there. Most of them are all greasy, nasty, covered in all sorts of crap, and you can't see the barrels that well. So you will typically miss a crack on the chain like that, and then eventually that crack could spread to the link, and then once it goes into the side link or the arm right there, it just comes straight apart. And then the next time that part is up high and the train lands on it down low, it simply just rips the steel on the other side clean in half, and it comes out. Bad news. It's bad news. But it's happened. There's been service bulletins released on the boomerang to inspect the chain and check it for cracks. I think ours was on about a 3-year replacement on that. And then there's always something that could have happened here, like they just did service work on the chain, put the master link back together, and those typical of the master links on these chains, you have to heat up the end till it's red hot and then hammer it together and basically mushroom the head back over so it actually holds the links together. That could have been done insufficiently, and the master link could have been not put together. These chains, there's no like one master link, like the entire chain is master links that have to be heated up and bent. So it could be something like that too, but without seeing more, I did look for a video on this today. I tried to find something like that. Was there a video or more pictures of it? Didn't find anything like that. But from what I can tell, it does look like the train went up lift 2, latched on. There was probably a really loud bang and a bunch of metal noise as the train came down, landed in the safety brakes down there, and then the chain just unspooled itself out of the lift hill in a really nice way. And that's what's suspect to me, is that it did it in a really nice way, which kind of, again, it makes me think they did it on purpose. But I cannot for the life of me understand why the train would be sitting at the base of lift 2 if they did that on purpose. I don't understand that. Unless it was in the park's lockout procedures to run the ride around to lift 2 and saddle it at the bottom of there. I mean, I would rather chain the train off on lift 1, that way the ride was just ready to go afterwards, but you never know with parks. Anyways, anybody else have any information on this? Anybody else know what happened? Maybe some backstory to fill this in here? Kind of an interesting one. I think the chain snapped on it. The chain is also, it's not hard to get a hold of. So assuming it didn't, I mean, it did bend some steel on the way down if it did in fact snap. But honestly, you're looking at probably a couple weekends worth of downtime, and then it should be back up and running, because not too much will happen out of there. It's pretty well built. All right. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff downstairs. Does help me out, and I do appreciate it. And as always, stay off the air gates.